Okay, welcome to video 1310. Today we're going to talk about step functions. So what are step functions? These are specific types of piecewise functions that increase or decrease from one constant to another so that it looks like a staircase when it's graphed. So as we've already talked about with piecewise functions, step functions are important because many real-world examples that are graphically represented use these step functions. So let's look at an example together. In this first example, John is at a carnival where it costs $20 for admission and each ride costs $2 to ride. We want to make a graph with the number of rides as the x-axis and the cost as the y-axis. And then the graph should show the cost of riding up to 10 rides. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is label my x, y, and give this a title so that I can determine what I need to put on each. Okay, so I have the number of rides, the cost in dollars, and the carnival cost. So if we want to kind of map this out first, we can put a table off to the side showing the number of rides and what will happen to the cost. Okay, I started off with my X, which included from 0 rides all the way up to what they asked me to include, which is 10 rides. Now I need to figure out the cost. Well, if I ride 0 rides, even if I don't ride any rides, I'm going to spend $20 because it costs me $20 to get in. It's set up in the top, $2 per ride, but it's going to cost me $20 to get in. So 0 is $20. Then they said that each ride is going to cost $2. So if I ride one ride, it's going to cost me $22. If I ride 2 rides, it's going to cost me $24, and so on. That continues through. Now, why is this a step function, you might be asking? Well, we can't ride half a ride. We're going to either get on the ride and then get off, and it'll cost us $2, or we're not going to ride at all. So there's no in between. So that's why this situation would be represented with a step function where it increases from one x value to the next. One ride will cost $2 more all the way up until we get to the top, which would be 10 rides, which would cost me $40. And then that's the end of my step function. So now I know what I need to include on the x and y. X's need to go from 0 to 10, and y's need to go for up to 40. So what should we count by? Well, I know on the x's, there's 20 of them. I need to get to 10, so I'm going to skip every other, so I'm going to count by a half. So the best I can here, I made each one worth half and just counted up to 10. Now for the y's, I need to go up to 40. If there's 20, that means I'm going to make each one worth 2, and I'm just going to skip and write for the 10, 20, 30, and 40. Now I have my x's labeled and my y labeled, so I'm going to need to worry about open or closed. Well, 0 rides is going to cost me $20. That's a closed circle on that point. So 0, 20. Now, anywhere from 0 to up to, but not including, 1 ride, so while I'm thinking about 1 ride all that time until I actually go on 1 ride, is going to be $20. So then I'm going to put an open circle on the 1 with the 20. Now anywhere from 20 up to, but not once I hit 1 ride, because as soon as I ride that ride, it's going to cost me a total of $22. So my next step will move up, showing anywhere from 1 ride up until I decide to the second ride. So 1 all the way up until the second ride, and then at the second ride there will be an open circle there. So this just shows that if I ride 1 ride, it's going to now cost me, I can see that it'll cost $22. We can't really go in between, but if we were thinking about the ride or maybe going in line for the ride, it would still only cost us $22 until we pay for the next ride. Then this step function was going to continue. For the second ride, it'll do the same thing. And now we'll see that 2 rides are going to cost me $24. And even if I was thinking about, going towards the ride, halfway there, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's still going to only cost me the same amount, $24. And then the same thing up for the third ride up until I ride the 4th ride. And this will simply keep repeating. I can see here that I have all these steps that just continue to increment up. And obviously, this one's a little bit weird because the number of rides, you can't really do half a ride. So basically, it's just covering the idea of, you're waiting for the tickets, you're thinking about riding that many rides, but until you actually ride the next ride, your cost stays the same. So that's what makes it a step function, and it is still a function because it passes the vertical line test, since that I do have a closed dot, but there's an open underneath it, so that does still pass the vertical line test. Okay, so that's it for this video. We'll continue tomorrow in class. Have a good night.